Hello, everyone. Welcome to Hashtag Eurovision. I'm here today with NIYL. Is
Hello,
it correct?
everybody.
It's NIYL.
Yeah, on the ball, Niall. You got it
Nice.
right. You got it right. I know, spell it
Uh,
weird.
NIYL will actually participate at Eurosong in Ireland 2025. That will choose the representative from Ireland at Eurovision in May. So, yeah, really nice to have you here. Welcome to the Hashtag Eurovision community.
Thank
It is
you.
a pleasure to have you here
I'm
today
excited.
have the opportunity to have a chat with you.
Yeah, it's going to
Um,
be fun. I'm excited and nervous. What are these
don't be
questions
nervous.
gonna be?
Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. I don't have like any tricky or sensitive questions to ask you.
Okay, great.
Before we move on, I'd like you to introduce yourself a little bit of your background, because I believe a lot of people will watch this interview and it will be the first time they hear about you. So it will be good for you to introduce yourself, give them a brief bio.
With pleasure. So yeah, my name is Niall. I grew up on the west of Ireland, the wild, chaotic west. And I've been singing and songwriting for as long as I can remember. I grew up spending my summers down by the sea, the Atlantic, and was really inspired by the waves and the ocean and a lot of my stuff. I don't know. So I started getting connected to music and nature and stuff. So all my songs kind of celebrate the world around us, but in a kind of nice, unsy, electronic, ravey vibe. um, and yeah, I've been kind of making my own stuff there for the past year. I'm making my first album at the moment, which is really cool. And in the middle of that, I had written a song called Growth, and all of us, after like in recording it, I was like, "Oh my god, you know what? This song is a Eurovision song." So I submitted it last year, and now here I am. Here I am speaking to all you lovely people. And the show is next week, and I am so freaking excited to get the ball rolling.
Oh my god, yeah, to be honest, we can't wait. After, I believe, like after last year's Eurosong, the bar is really high. I don't know, because of, yeah, of course, the results that Ireland got last year.
It's
But
it's about time though. We have like I think Ireland has always had incredible music and incredible artists and musicians, and I think Bambi last year just opened up the doors for so many more artists to feel confident to apply. And you can see that. You can see that in the six of us who are performing next week are all very different performers, vocalists, and artists. So it's cool. It's cool to be part of this.
it is, yeah, it's definitely a very diverse and interesting group of people with very interesting songs. To be honest, people got a little bit surprised because I don't know if you see like the ratings of the songs, but it was people considered one of the strongest national finals because of the quality of all of the songs,
That's
which is
so good.
fantastic.
It's cool
Um,
to hear because I've been kind of seeing online, seeing what's been said and stuff, and the kind of the feedback seems to be that Ireland is has a really good selection in comparison to all the other countries, which is so cool. It's so cool to be part of that.
it
Um,
really is.
so yeah, exciting.
Great. So yeah, I have a few questions to ask you about your music in general
Yeah.
and your career. And I know that you are releasing your debut album called Parish Is Burning. It will be released throughout the year. I don't know if you have like a date.
Well, we'll see how I get on next
Okay.
week. And if I do well next week and I end up going to Eurovision, I think I'm going to push it out to summer. But because I just want to focus all my time on May. But if not, it might be a bit sooner. Yeah, I think around April time is when I'm hoping to have all the songs done. I have 9 out of 10 songs done now.
Okay.
And yeah, they're all coming together, and I'm so excited.
Okay. So yeah, we will have news soon, very soon.
Watch this space.
Next week we will know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would like you to I would like to ask you, like, and see if you can tell us more a little bit about the concept behind the album and the album title actually, and how it ties into your music.
Yeah, thank you for that question. So Parish is Burning, which so like I've been it's calling it Parish is Burning for the past several years. So the whole idea of it is paying homage to Paris is Burning, obviously. One of the most best queer documentaries, the OG, really. Um, and my story, I guess, is I grew up in rural Ireland as a queer person. And in that time, there wasn't much representation for queer people living in rural Ireland. And it was kind of hard. It was difficult. It was difficult to be raised around like a very football sport orientated home, very sport orientated school I went to. So I was always a bit on the outside. And I moved from Limerick is where I'm from to Dublin and spent a few years living up there. And in that time, I kind of had a perspective of where I came from, and it wasn't really the best. But as I grew older, I learned to really fall in love with Limerick and where I was from, and create really good positive memories of kind of going back there and stuff. As you mature, you know yourself.
Yeah.
And that the album Parish is Burning is that journey back. It's the typical story of someone who grows up in a small town, moves to the big city, like finds out who they are, discovers their identity, figures out who they are as a person, and then it's coming home and falling in love with home again. And it's so each song is a representation of a piece of closure that I need to face. So there's 10 songs that kind of go through the journey, and they're all connected to each other. But it was really important for me to kind of talk about that and represent it, because I think we've come along so well in terms of society and in terms of queer representation. But Ireland, there's still a bit of work to do, and there's still a bit of people who don't feel that they're not represented, queer people from rural communities. And I want to help that, and I want to help to kind of tell that story and tell those stories and share those emotions. And I think it's always important to say like the thrills and the challenges that come with being queer in rural towns, because it can be fun too.
No, yeah, and music definitely has this strong aspect behind that people can relate to the message, to the feeling, and
Yeah.
provide them some comfort. So I definitely understand where you're coming from with this concept and the audience that you want to reach.
It
Um,
because it like it's for like I think there's so many stories of people who feel like they're outside of the this typical mundane circle of life, and I think it's important to give expression to them and to their emotions and connect to people in that way. And
mm,
I love it. I think it's such an important thing to do, but it's something that is innate, because as you said, through music, like we all connect so much, and it's a lovely thing to be able to raise a positive message through the music that you do.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, that's a very it's I don't know, like being a singer, being an artist gives you such a massive opportunity to have an impactful job and a massive impact like in your audience or whoever will read, hear, listen your art. So it's yeah, it's fantastic, to be
It,
honest.
it's and like we all remember moments with music. You mightn't listen to a song for like 5 years, and then it comes on and it takes you back to that place where you remembered it as and the
Yeah,
person you were. Like it has a really powerful effect on you physically and emotionally. So it's really cool. I love it. It's so interesting as well. It's so interesting to figure out musically what chords and what lyrics connect to people, and how expressive, especially with your voice, how your voice is the most like natural instrument that anyone can ever do. You're literally singing emotions at people, and that has an effect as well on people. And it's always really interesting to see at live gigs or the responses people give me when they talk about the music that I make. It's such a blessing, and it's an honor, really.
And yeah, regarding your music, we are here talking about the impact and the meaning. And you already mentioned your that you grew up in the west coast of Ireland. I'd like to know like how these landscapes actually translate into the sounds of your music. For example, your heritage. Do you use these as an inspiration for your music, or?
I do. I think, yeah, it's something that kind of, I suppose, as you mature as an artist and as you mature and figure out what sound represents you, and that can change the whole time. But for me, for the moment, it is that celebration of ancient and traditional roots of Ireland, merging that in with modern, and not in, like, I think I always say, like, the first instrument and the first thing that we all done as society was gather around fire and sing with our voices, and to the beat, to the just a steady beat, and that was the beginning of music. But we found connectivity and we found ritual and purpose through that, and as we've evolved, that hasn't really gone away. It's just taken a new shape. It's turned into us going to festivals and us going to raves and finding that community together through music and getting lost in the bliss that is sound. And I think a lot of my stuff, I want that represented. And then lyrically, I've always been a fan of Yeats and Wilde, and drawing on nature is just, when I sit down to write a song, naturally that's where my mind goes first, of like trying to find connectivity and symbology in the world around us to reflect an emotion. And yeah, I love it. It's really I suppose it's a romanticized poetry in how I write, but it's where I always go first, and I sometimes have to challenge myself to step out of that comfort zone.
And also like with these like back and forth, because yeah, you said that you grew up in Limerick, is
Yeah,
yeah, and then you moved to Dublin, and then back to your roots. How did these, and also like I saw that several publications recognize your music and you're getting a lot of attentions. How does these, but also like this recognition, um, impact your creative process and your career trajectory so far?
These are such lovely questions. I think the kind of recognition is something that, is really is lovely in terms of accessibility, and going back to that idea of like telling an important story that needs to be represented. I'm so happy that people are reciprocal of it, and that enjoy it. It's kind of taken a while to get there as well, like a lot of experimenting with music, a lot of releases that were didn't work, or like, the stuff tweaks needed to be made. But I think to kind of get that publicity and that support from media publications and stuff like that is really, really good. But I think at the core, what I want to be doing as an artist, and where I'm happiest, is performing to people and sharing that story on stage with people. It's I grew up in theater, and I grew up since I was a kid on stage, and it is where it's my second home. Like, it is where I'm happiest. It's, if I'm on stage, I kind of, you go in, it's like a trance. I'm lost into it, and I let the emotions take over. So everything leads to me being able to do that more often, I am so happy with this. And it is also like Limerick, for those who are listening from abroad, Limerick is an incredible city, and has some amazing characters and stories. And like, there's a brazenness and a boldness about the city, and it's a city that I'm quite proud to be from, and to be raised in now. It took me a journey to get there, but I love it so much. So also to be a champion of Limerick is important, and Ireland, but like in particular where you're from, I'm rooted in that now, and rooted in the River Shannon, and rooted, going down to the west of Ireland for my summers. I'm connected to that world and to that landscape now, and it's cool to be able to share that with people.
And sometimes it is like that. You need to leave the place where you're from, your comfort zone, to start appreciating it a little bit more, and you start seeing and valuing things that before, like, you didn't even notice. um
It's
and
so
you
true. Like I think we like you need I think we all need to do that, because if you stay somewhere, you kind of could, like, for me anyway, personally, like I could feel myself getting stuck in a rut, and I knew that my future I needed to go somewhere to find out who I was in order to be my true self. And I think if I stayed at home, it would have been a lot more, that would have been corrupted a lot more, and I wouldn't have become who I am now, probably at a much slower pace. I think I still would have gotten there, but like, because we're all a soul. But you need to go on that journey. Life it's that cycle. It's that, like, I think, and again, everyone, I think, in some shape or form goes through it. But it's nice to be able to be back in a place now where, I love us, and I love being a champion for it.
but yeah, off, like, from more these deep topics. Your music in general, it blends like electronic sounds and your powerful vocals,
Yes.
because you have like very powerful vocals.
Thank you.
um so I'd like to know, like, what who are your inspirations?
I have,
um
I have three, I call my holy trinity. Like,
okay.
so my day-to-day inspirations change a lot in terms of my music taste. I love James Blake. I love classical music, so like Max Richter. Lola Young at the moment is one of my favorite artists. I love her new song "Messy." Matt Corby, but the three that I think best represent how I came to be as an artist, for the voice, is Aretha Franklin.
Mhm.
I've been listening to her since I was a kid, and I've wanted to sing like her. So the big powerhouse that she is, I always was singing her songs. So I think that influenced the powerfulness of my voice. Um, and then Joni Mitchell for songwriting. uh, like, need I say more? Just an absolute master of human emotion and understanding it, and communicating it in such an honest and vulnerable way. Oh, I love Joni so much. And then I think, from a performance perspective, I love Stevie Nicks. So those are my three gals, that have really influenced kind of who I am as an artist. And then
Mhm.
the electronic soundscapes and stuff. So I love big cinematic sounds, and like electronic cinematic sounds. So beyond like Max Richter, Hans Zimmer, I listen a lot to an artist called Woodkid, who has
Mhm.
produced stuff with Lana Del Rey, Lady Gaga, and the way he makes music and the way he makes beats and sounds and that kind of industrial cinematic feel really, really has inspired me over the past 2 years. And as a result, that's the kind of music that I'm being drawn to, along with another artist named X, who makes much more ambient beats, but really tasteful, and both of them of equal measure in how powerful they express emotion. I love them. There's so much, but I'd like I said, like, every day music brings you something different, and
Mhm.
my favorite thing on Spotify is just going on to discovery mode, and going through and just listening, just seeing what the algorithm has picked for me. But usually, you find some really, really cool sounds there. And there's no better feeling when a song kind of hits you,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, this is powerful. This feels good, and you listen to it like 1 million times. Uh, so Lola Young's "Messy" is that for me at the moment. I can't stop listening to it.
But it's always like that. You find like a new song, and you find out that that song was released like 10 years ago, and you're like, how the hell have I been living without listening to these?
Right? It happened to me only too recently. Have you ever listened to Ali X?
I'm so bad with names. Probably yes.
She's like, I think you'd like her. She's a crazy, like, human. But a song came on Discovery, and I was like, who the fuck is this? Oh my God. And her song's a bit like, the song was like from 5 years ago. And I was like, I've been sleeping on this incredible artist. Like, listened to all of her albums, and now she's like, now I'm a fan.
Yeah, it's always like that. But also, like, yeah, you mentioned these amazing influences. Like you have amazing taste in music, I have to say.
Thank you.
Um, how do you find the balance between like these influences as an inspiration and what you create? Like, okay, to because it's very easy sometimes to have an inspiration and an influence, and you just copy what
Yeah.
others do, and in your case it's not what you did. So how do you balance these? Because I probably find it very hard for musicians to like, probably they heard that same sound, that same beat thousands and thousands of times, but you still need to do something different.
Do you know what? It's a great question because I started off interpret like wanting doing that copying and listening and being like, okay, like going on to Stevie Nicks' songs and being like, okay, chord progression wise, what are they doing here? And okay, lyrically, she's talking about that. And as I think, as you discover yourself as an artist, you're influenced by others. So I used to write like that, starting off and pulling and listening to song, be like, I'm going to make a song like this. So I'm going to listen to the song on repeat, and it got stale really, really quickly because you're not being true to yourself. So I think after kind of started doing live gigs and started like tinkering away, and I had a couple of original songs and figuring out what I was as an artist, more and more songs became less influent. I didn't have to sit down and listen to someone to write a song, and I kind of started finding my own voice. I think it's always really, really healthy to find inspiration in, oh, I really like how the production rhythm in this section is moving. So, but like, I think the way I work, I work with a really good producer, Chris Benzar from Diffusion Lab in Dublin. And we have a really good creative synergy now. I go to him with the bass of my song, the melody, the lyrics, what instruments like that I can play kind of badly, but I have a demo set up. I go to him, and then we kind of world build a small bit. So we're like, okay, so what is the feeling here? So if you use Growth as an example, it was like druidy, running through the forest, tribal, connecting to your ancestors, but also it could be like cyberpunk, like into the future, dystopian. And we were like, amazing, okay, cool. And with that world visually in our mind, which is really, really important, we then began to like put all the pieces of a jigsaw puzzle together. And Chris in particular has such a phenomenal ability to I speak in poetry the whole time. I'm like, I want this to sound like the wind. And the man can read my mind. He just knows exactly what I mean. And it took me a while to find someone who I can connect to on that level with. And it works really well. So I think like I think the journey, I think you now I know who I am as an artist, and where moments of inspiration can come from. But for the most part, it's through the soul, and it's out there. And when you're in the creative zone, stuff kind of starts to flow naturally now, because there's just so much information now in my head musically, because I've been listening to music for 30 years. you know
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, but it's good that you started mentioning this point about the production of Growth, because I actually want to switch the topic
Okay, please.
to this song and your participation specifically. I saw that you mentioned Growth as pays homage to the roots of music with vocals and modern electronic sound. And can you elaborate on how these will translate in the performance itself? Will we have more than only you on stage? How are you working like the performance so far?
Yes, this is good timing, because I got the visuals, a little taster from RT on what the visuals are. I gave a really hefty mood board, and I'm so excited. It's going to be really cool. So no, it's not going to be just me on stage. There's actually going to be 6 people on stage.
Okay.
So I have 2 backing vocalists kind of positioned. Actually, do you know what? I'll tell you the story, and then I'll tell you what the people are doing.
Yes.
So you're dead right. The story of Growth is about our roots, but like bringing it to a modern world. It's that whole kind of full cycle moment, I guess. And I've been inspired a lot by mythology. So I'm going to have 3 contemporary dancers who are representing the fates. I don't know if you know the fates in Greek mythology, but they look into the future. So they start the song, and as the song unfolds, the visuals move further and further into the future. And it represents, so the first phase of it is like the birth, the second phase is growth, and then the final phase is destruction, which you probably might hear in the song where it goes kind of
Mm.
so it's that full cycle of life that I'm trying to tell. But it's all very ritualistic, like again, cyberpunk druid. So it's like mixes old with new a lot in the sound and in what you're going to see. But everything is coming together now really, really nicely. And I'm working with some amazing dancers from Limerick, and my 2 close friends that I do backing vocals with a lot are going to be performing with me on the stage as well. So it's going to be a big sound.
Now I'm super curious. Can it be tomorrow already? Like instead of next week, like tomorrow, so we
I
can
know,
find
I
out.
know, and I must say, in particular, the visuals. RT shared in comparison to last year. Like the visuals were cool last year, but it looks so good. The quality is good, so good. Because I gave a mood board on Pinterest with all the color palettes I wanted, all like the different elements, the synopsis of the story, and my jaw dropped when I saw it because I was like, "Ye have landed. You've done well. Exactly what my vision is." Yeah, it's kind of giving a bit of, I don't know, Dune, but Ireland kind of vibes.
Okay. Dune Batarla. Okay,
Yeah.
let's leave it like that. The best description.
Yeah.
Dune.
Yeah.
Okay, make it Irish. It's good that you mentioned the production itself. You're not participating last year, but can you actually see like an improvement in the production of the Eurosong?
Yeah. Now I can't speak for the other artists because I haven't seen anything from them, but just on the basis of what I've been given, I'm so beyond impressed. Because as I said, last year's visuals were cool, but I think they were quite minimal. Is my honest answer there? Like I don't think there were a lot of colors and there were a lot of color palettes on the back screens, and I think Bambi actually probably had the best, in my opinion, visuals of the kind of the occulty stuff and then the lovely like dreamy cloudland. But I think the tech or whatever it is just above and beyond now. It's like I'm so impressed, so I'm buzzing for that. And I'm just, the next kind of thing is now we're going into the studio next week to do some of our dress rehearsals, and then we'll figure out how the sound is.
Very busy week for
I
you.
know, I love it though. I love being busy. As long as I have my ginger, lemon, and honey tea here, and
Yeah, the end result will be amazing, so it will be worth it.
yeah.
But it's good that you mentioned again the participants, because yeah, you already praised the diversity of the Eurosong lineup this year. Are there any specific artists or performance that you're excited to see?
Yeah, I'm buzzing for Railtas. I think Railtas' song has been my favorite since like the first couple I've released. So I think that's really, really cool. Bobby's song is a bit of a bop, and I'm looking forward to seeing what she does with the armor. That's gonna be cool. But a song that kind of grew on me since it was released is Aji's song. I actually think that's really, it's a bop. And the other thing
Well,
as well, like Samantha's like obviously Samantha Mumba Pop Icon is great, and like a party is good as well. But in terms of my taste, I think those ones are vibes.
and in terms of expectations, what are your expectations for the competition? Are you aiming for a specific result? Of course, like winning, but if like, or are you like primarily focused on delivering a strong and memorable performance, showing your art, and the result is just like a benefit from from the competition?
Oh, I'm in it to win it. But I think with any of these things, the competition and getting there is one thing, and that's amazing. But like really, I think the songs have been released. So that public voting and jury voting is down to an incredible performance live and obviously the songs. But that, like, to me, going back, like the reason why I go into anything like this is the opportunity to perform and share that message to people. And the Late Late Show is something that like, you know, is any artist in Ireland strives to be on. So I think what I want to give is, like, vocals are so important to me. The production of the song is so important to me. I want to give a really, really good quality performance that everyone will be like, yes, I can see that happening at the Eurovision this year in Basel. Because it's scalable as well. What's exciting is, like, what I've told you there about the Late Late Show, production and staging. I have a completely different vision for Eurovision, the bigger stage. Like, there's a lot, there's, you know, there's a lot more fun things you can do with that. But yeah, the expectation for me is to be truthful in my performance and to share the emotion as honestly as I can, and hopefully get the crown.
Let's see, let's see. But yeah, actually, now that you talked about getting the crown, was Eurovision actually something that you always had in your mind, or it was like, oh, okay, let's see, like, let's participate. I never thought about like being part of Eurovision, or it's something that you always had in the back of your mind, like one day I'll perform that stage.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of Eurovision. Growing up in it's a lovely contrast to being like, I always think this is so interesting, but in a house full of sport and rugby and stuff, the Eurovision was the thing we all came together as a family and watched since I was a kid. So
Same.
I've always, as a young kid who loves performing, looking at this, you're like, oh my God. And then as I kind of grew older and started making my own music, it was always at the back of my mind. And I think the moment for me that I saw a performance on Eurovision and said, I can do this, was Goa with Salave and Shum, when they released those songs in 2020 and 2021.
Yeah.
Because they do a similar thing. They celebrate Ukrainian folk and bring it into an electronic modern soundscape. And I thought that was so fucking cool. And actually that really inspired me to both enter and to hone in on that music that I love so much a lot more and see what I could do. So it's always been something I really, really wanted to participate in. But I needed the right song, and this year I wrote the right song. So I was like, the timing is right. And I'm excited. I can't wait. I'm so proud of this song. And you know, obviously, as with every piece of music, it's subjective, but like, I think the people who are enjoying it and the people who are really, really liking it are connecting to it exactly the way I had envisioned. So I'm so proud, and I can't wait. I can't wait to give the lungs now. I can't wait to perform it.
Eurovision, an Eurovision performance actually inspired you to, okay, I can do this. I want to do this. And it's good that you mentioned, like, Eurovision gets all the family together to watch it, which I can relate. Now I'm going a little bit out of script, but what is the oldest Eurovision memory that you have? Like your first Eurovision memory, like
It's I think it was Serbia, Molitva.
one of my favorite winners ever.
Same. And I thought the production, well, like the staging was so cunty, like, you know, this beautiful like artist surrounded by women singing, and it was just so good. So that definitely was an OG for me. I think that's probably, and when was that? That was 2006.
2007 or 8. I never know like between 2007 2008 like the difference. But I think it was 2007. Yeah, it was 2007.
What a performance! And obviously Conchita, I that was another big moment, like for a young gay teenager saying that. I was like, amazing. And what else? I no, I think that was it. I think, and then more recently, Jean's Tears was probably one of my favorites. Cornelia Jacobs, Hold Me Closer is
oh my God,
a beautiful song. Oh so my God. And they all now are on my like day-to-day playlist. Two Universes is such a beautiful song.
It is. It is. Actually, John Sears, like, I believe it was an improvement from 2020 to 2021 because
Yeah,
of was cancelled. Like, To l'Univers is way
so good.
way stronger. It's really
Oh,
really good.
and the performance and the staging of it was so cool. I loved all his like really like symmetrical movements, um,
Yeah.
and his voice. Oh my god! Wow.
Because it's also a very difficult song to stage because you cannot imagine like what the staging of this song will look like. You never know.
Yeah.
um and yeah, it was really really good. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's good to know. It's good to know that you have a lot of Eurovision memories as
Memories.
well.
Oh, but I do Eurovision back. The past few years now, I've done Eurovision parties every year.
Oh, same, to be
I
honest,
love
same.
it. It's so because it's just so fun and it's so long as well. I love it. I like you really commit to it like from now until May.
Yeah, true, true. And to be honest, I made a lot of friends in like those parties, like people that you only meet once a year because
Yeah,
they live abroad, and you met them in a random party 2 years ago, and now it's like a recurring thing, your annual meeting at this
but it's
Eurovision
so
party.
lovely. I was doing another podcast there during the week, and there's an after party. Like I was invited to the Odeon in Dublin for an after party for after the actual show, and I was like, "That's so lovely." So I think I'm gonna go. But yeah, there's such a lovely sense of community around there. Do you know what as well? Like because like I've released songs for the past few years, and like you get recognition, you get it on a level, especially in Ireland. Ireland is small, but the recognition that this song got and the kind of interaction is like another world. So like it was a bit daunting, but for the most part, everyone's been so lovely and nice, which is really good.
So
Thank you.
yeah, before we wrap up, as I mentioned, so we have this thing that we are asking artists to leave a question to the next one. You already sent your questions. Let's not reveal to who.
Okay,
let's keep it a secret. The previous interview that I had was with Railta,
Queen.
and yeah, she left a question for you because she got really intrigued, and she didn't have the opportunity to ask you. That she mentioned something that I didn't know before.
Okay.
That was like that you have chosen Growth from your album to be the song to compete, and she's very curious to know why this song and not another song, and what the other songs sound like. You already explored this a little bit, but why Growth and not another one if you already have like an album ready to be released?
Love that. Railta, what a beautiful question, my darling, if you're listening. Growth, because I think growth is the best representation of what I am as an artist. I think it's and I think it's a really really good representation of what the album is, and it's celebrating the roots, be it ancient roots or be it like roots from of who you are, but also your growth and how you evolve as a person. And I think it's a universal message of kind of identity and learning to be who you are, but also a message of like love and unity and celebrating all the positive things around us. And to me, that's what better message to share, what better message to kind of get out there to people. So I think as lyrically, I knew it would work. And then as the production developed and as we got into that studio and those beats started slapping and those drums started moving, I was like, this is without a shadow of a doubt the song I'm going to be putting into Eurovision. The other songs are similar. The other songs like jump between that kind of electronic-y soundscape, subtle folk and traditional influences, and then a bit of soul influences in there as well. But I think this song kind of wraps up what I want to be in terms of an artist so well. So that's why.
I haven't heard the other songs, but I'm really glad that you've chosen this song because it's really good. Growth is a really good song.
Thank you.
So yeah, I'm really glad that you have chosen this one.
That's very sweet
Um,
to say. Thank you.
so yeah, before we wrap up our interview, I would like to ask you to leave a quick message to the Hashtag
Yes.
Eurovision community or the Portuguese fans or whoever you want to send a message to. But yeah, for you to leave a message for I don't know, support, because a lot of people will be following you.
Oh my God, yes, of course. Thank you so much, hashtag Eurovision fans and all the Portuguese listeners, and the Irish listeners, all the listeners. I'm so happy to be already part of this journey, and it's been such a privilege to share my music so far with you. And I have a lot more to share. I have a lot more of my art to show you. So hopefully you will join me on this journey to Basil or Basil. I always say that wrong.
No
Um,
idea.
yeah, neither have I. I'm going to say Basil because that's a cool, it's a cool name. But I think, yeah, I think if you believe in the song and if you believe in the message, vote for me. Come and speak with me on whatever platform you want. I'm always there to say hey and leave your thoughts on what the music means. And also, Portuguese fans, I want to come to Portugal and do a gig. So hit me up, tell me what the best venues are, because once this album is coming out, I want to travel around and share my music with as many people as I can. So yeah, there's definitely a Portuguese stint of that coming up. But it means the world to be here, and it means the world to connect with people through music. So you do have my gratitude and love for allowing me to do this and for being and joining me on this journey and letting me share my music with what is one of the biggest platforms of celebrating music and culture in the world. So I don't take this this privilege lightly. And yeah, I'm really excited. I can't wait. Tune in on February 7th to see all the magic happen.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to have this chat with you. Such a lovely chat. It was really, really nice.
It was.
Uh,
This was so relaxing and it was so lovely. You're such a lovely interviewer. Honestly,
oh,
that
thank you
was.
so much.
I really the questions that you had were I so appreciate them. They're like because it's focusing in on the music and the story and that's it. And I love talking about that. But I can tell that you love it so much and you love it listening
Mm.
and asking questions on it so much. So it was a pleasure to listen to you.
No, thank you. I did my research,
You
so
did. You
it was
did.
very important. I tried my best. So yeah, thank you so much for your time. Wish you like all the success on Eurosong. We'll see you next week, or let's say we'll see you in May again.
Fingers.
Let's manifest that.
I'm
So
manifesting that energy, guys. I got this.
okay, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And yeah, keep you posted. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Bye.